live in a most beautiful part of the New Forest. Obviously, that's your inspiration to your work. When do you think you started having this relationship with regard to painting trees as opposed to sort of moving from your graphics right into nature, which are pretty juxtaposed?
I actually painted all my life, so there wasn't any real transition. Even when I was a graphic designer, I still painted for my own pleasure, and I started, I suppose, 10 or 15 years ago, I started running down the graphic side of it, and my paintings began to sell. In fact, I started winning a few competitions, and then the mortgage was paid off, so that just gave me the opportunity to start painting. Living in the forest is just an endless, absolute endless views for painting. You can go on and on and on. The inspiration is there everywhere, in rivers, woods, pine enclosures, open heathland, big skies, dark skies, reflections in streams. It's endless. I tend to work in a series of paintings which might take a year or even longer. The first one of the big series was called A Year in the New Forest, and that was sort of 12 huge, really, really big paintings in oil, which was 12 specific sites around the New Forest. And I worked with a photographer called Hugh Lawn, who took black and white photographs around, and we had a couple of major exhibitions of the work that progressed from that. Then I did a series of 50 paintings called Ponds, Puddles and Paths, and that was just, again, that was all over the New Forest, and just finding compositions that worked, reflections in ponds, and without repeating myself, puddles and paths, just sort of disappearing into the mist sometimes, sunset, sunrises. That was about 2 years' work, maybe a little bit longer. Then and now I'm actually working on Beaulieu River, from the source to the Solent. The source, strangely enough, is in Lyndhurst, in somebody's back garden, little pond that bubbles up. And for the last year, it'll probably take another year, I'm following the river from literally from the source all the way through the forest, Ipley, all the way down into the Mountbatten Estate, Beaulieu Estate, which we've got permission to go on at any time that we like. That took a bit of working. Luckily, we got it before Lord Mountbatten died, so we've got that. And then obviously down to the Mill Pond, and then further down out to the Solent, looking out over the Isle of Wight. That's the series I'm working on. This painting here is in fact one of those. I shall continue to do a series of paintings as I travel through the forest, and hopefully sell them. But when I've completed the journey, I should then go back to various locations that I really liked, and then paint a series which I should not put up for sale until it's a complete collection, and hopefully have an exhibition either at Southampton Art Gallery, St Barb's, or London, somewhere like that. So whoever would take me on, actually, whoever take it on. But I'm still working with a guy called Hugh. He's 80. I really rate his photography. It's very difficult to take coloured photographs of the same places that I'm working. So he actually works in black and white. And I think that's even harder than painting, because to make the forest zing as a photograph is a more difficult task than painting, because I can add colour, I can push colours back and tones, whereas he has to take what he takes, and he doesn't use Photoshop, so the shots that he uses are good. Nearly all my work is watercolour. I do paint quite large scale watercolours. I think the biggest one has just sold recently. I think that was over 1 metre square, and that's quite a big watercolour. That was again on the journey down Beaulieu River. It didn't actually have the river in it, but it was a place called Matley Wood, which was all bracken and misty trees and things like that. So that's what I'm working on at the moment.
That's fantastic. And you just mentioned that you work in watercolour, and that your friend Hugh does his photography in black and white. When you prepare for your painting, is it from a sketch or do you ever work from photographs?
I do take photographs, but I try not to work from photographs. I have around the studio, you'll see small paintings. Those are nearly all done on site. I take the sketchbook down with me. I use pastels, and that's chalky pastels, and I try to capture the moment or the instant, or certainly the colour and the feel of the place. I then do take a photograph, but I work outside to capture the sort of moment. I then bring back those sketches, and Hugh and I might be out for a day, a whole day. He might make 1 or 2 photographs. I might do sort of 5 or 6 sketches, nearly all of the same location. I might just walk down the river a little bit, or come back, or wait for the sun to well, we get up early in the morning to rise, or if we're there in the evening for the sun to set, because obviously the lower the light, the sort of stronger the contrast in the shadows, which is what I'm always looking for. Some lights and darks. So yeah, I sketch a lot. I do pencil drawings. I make colour notes. I do all sorts of things. I do, and if I kind of get lost, then I refer to the photographs. I prefer not to work from photographs. Because of my background, I was an airbrush illustrator, superfine realism, very, very tight artwork. And if I start working from a photograph, I can actually feel myself just becoming an illustrator and not a painter. And it literally has taken me 20, possibly 30 years to grow away from being an illustrator and into a painter. And I think it's still within me.
So your work is exhibited locally in various galleries.
Yeah, it is, and of course one of the galleries is Coastal Gallery in Lymington, and they really, really promote my work, and I think it's great. I love the work that's there, and I actually feel quite privileged to be there, because whenever you go there, there's just not one piece of work that isn't good. They're all good art. So it's nice to go into it's a small gallery, but it's packed full of really, really interesting stuff. They do work hard at promoting work, and they do exhibit excellent a range from sculptures right down to